Anyway, this is part 2 here at Blind Bomber's Free Wheel Bike Shop. Anyways, I have Bomber here in the background as I'm filming, working on my little Ducks bike. So tell me, Bomber, what did the customers think? You were telling me when you showed them the bike that you've done.
Which
my bike. When that used to be the Barney collar, and then you had it stripped down, and you rebuilt it.
Who are you talking about? Are you talking about the people who did the power tool job for you?
No, just the people who came in and saw the work you've done.
Oh, they were
your customers.
Oh, at the time, not it really was just the most people who come in my shop because they come in so often. I was just building a bike, and a lot of people asked me, what was I doing? And I was just say, got a customer's bike is being built from bare frame.
Right, and explain your expenses of cost. Why you charge up the yin like when you charge $400 because you say you have these special kind of grease when you overhaul bikes.
Oh yes, I mean in the bicycle world, a lot of these bikes you buy from department stores run the cheapest grease they can use. And quality of grease really makes that much difference. And the only grease to use that
have it back here
that I found out from a good friend of mine who owns a bicycle repair shop in Hillsboro, Oregon, is the product called Philwood. Philwood is the top of the line in the bicycle worlds, and anything you get from Philwood, it is expensive because it is quality. A 22-ounce tub of Philwood grease, which is, in my opinion, one of the best grease in the world for bicycles because it was built and manufactured for bikes. 22-ounce tub is $30 for that 20-ounce, 2-ounce tub, but it's worth every penny.
Right. And why do your customers bitch about the prices you ask for, or they think that they're not getting it?
A lot of people, when they complain about my prices, is because of this little shop. I am not like one of the big boys where you go in and it's this huge place. This is a very small little place. It's a garage, and so when people see a garage, they have a garage mentality. Like it should be like pennies on the dollars. But the only thing they don't realize is, because of my time and my experience, like I said before, I've been working on bikes for 40 years. You name it, I've worked on it.
And they think that you should be located like in a shopping district.
Exactly. And so when they bring a bike to me and I charge them these certain prices, it's because they are paying for my knowledge. Not just for coming into a little garage. It is my knowledge that these bikes that I have worked on, and my time, my knowledge is worth price is what I want.
Now, as I safety jack here, your guy, since you've been working on what you're doing on my, you had not known me, right, and I just came in and said, hey, I have a problem with this Y, and you can see how badly that Y snapped on me at my last travels to my karaoke party.
You need new brake pads.
I figured that. I could figure why my brakes weren't grabbing.
Yeah, we gotta put new brake pads on your brakes.
But if you were to charge somebody, let's say some stranger, somebody that came in your shop, how much would you have charged that person for your knowledge, what you're doing right now on my bike?
Well, what I would charge a customer right now for doing this, like I said, I just noticed that the brake pads are gone. We're going to have to replace them as I'm doing this. I'm going to have to replace this Y wire that has been broken. We'll see about the wire itself. I might be able to reuse it. I don't know yet. I'm still pulling the thing apart. But anyone else to do this job that I'm doing I would charge them $30 to do what I'm doing right here. My labor time and parts.
And that's just for the front part. Yeah, and that's got to be, even with my vision, losing parts, I just couldn't figure how you would feel, just by doing everything by touch and feel. Even like this, Redline tandem here, Bomber has that. That's a lot of work. I couldn't just imagine how he went putting this together. But I'll tell you, I have a lot more faith in riding that, but I would ride that bike a lot more bazillion times before my life's over with, before I would ride on a pile bike on Burnside that has been sitting, and God only knows how long, Bomber. Do you think those pile bikes are sitting out there in the rain? And what's your experience on that?
Well, to me, they're not pile bikes. I've never called them pile bikes. To me, because they sit out in the rain, there's only one name for that. They're rust buckets. And that's what I call them. They're all rust buckets because they all have rusty parts on them.
And you have a good name for that, because I rode one. Okay, believe it or not, I did try one before I knew who Blind Bomber was. I did try one, and I swear, never God, because I thought I was going to eat shit, and that's...
What's really sad about it, in my 7 years of zoo bombing, and I've seen tourists who come up and rent one of these pile bikes, I've seen them go down the hill with an injury.
Remember that Japanese tourist that ate shit on the, what do you call it, on Mid-Burnside?
Oh, yes.
And got carried off?
Carried off in an ambulance.
Oh, I'm pretty sure she had a pretty good story to tell her peoples if she ever made it back to Japan.
Yeah, but it wasn't very good of a good story about zoo bombing, I bet you, either.
Oh, no. Well, you know, it's like you say, some people, you might say the hardcores you'll see again, but some people, they have a bad experience and you probably never see them up there again. My funniest experience when I met Blind Bomber up on the Zoo Bomb Hill was Halloween night. I was dressed up like a gladiator, like a character from the Romaine Mill, from the Sound and Arrows guy. I dressed up for Halloween, and that night him and his original driver came up to the Zoo Bomb Hill, and I thought his cane and stuff was his costume, and I didn't even know that he was blind. And it was cool, you know, and since I've got to know Blind Bomber, we've talked, and, yeah, and, as I was going to tell you, since I've been taking my bikes in your shop, tell our friends, about my, squeaking experience on my, BMX and this mountain bike you're working on.
Oh, well, the very first time, like I said, it was October night of 2005 when I first zoo bombed, and that was the very first night I met Mr. Safety Jack here, and he had this BMX bike. I mean, that thing it was so I had to laugh. It was so out of shape, out of tune. The thing just needed to be gone through. And I mean, and what's so funny about it was, for example, his drivetrain was so dry that when he pedaled, the thing would just squeak. And so when I first met him, I just laughed at him. And every time I go by him, I could always tell, because of not being blind but having good ears. Me and Rodney would be riding. I hear the squeak, and I'd say, Rodney, I go, there's Jack, and you know there'd be Jack, and every time I go by Jack, I would go, man, when are you gonna get the name of my shop? And he finally did. One day he finally came by, and I did it.
And then Rodney kind of flaked off on you.
Rodney got married.
Oh God, lovely
Rodney got married,
him.
and his wife didn't want him to zoo bomb because of the kids.
Well, but I'm pretty sure all the other zoo crew probably appreciated that because of the fact that stories you told me about Rodney and what I know of Rodney, and I've experienced on right in the back frame. But we're getting almost to 10 minutes here, so we're going to cut and go to part 3 of Whell Bikes.